Councillor Joel Charles, Councillor for Old Harlow, we bring up we're in Gilden Park, and I got the feeling from a meeting you were at in January at the Harlow School and many other things that people here feel they're being given the community that they thought they were buying into. What do you say to that?
I think there is a deep frustration in Gilden Park. I've been working with a number of residents who set up a really good community group to tackle some of the primary issues. I think there are three core things that we need to address. Number one, the elephant in the room, the consortium are not engaging with residents. When they raise concerns, they're not being actioned. The second issue is the roads, the footpaths, the landscaping isn't to the standard that was expected, and again the consortium need to move quickly to deal with that. And then thirdly, you've got the major infrastructure as I see it, the allotments, commercial units, and of course the sports pavilion. Now where we are today, the council has sought legal advice and is communicating formally with the consortium. We've worked with them to pull together an action tracker that sets out all the particular issues, a lot of it populated actually by residents, worked with residents to get the list together. Planning enforcement officers also came out here to look at the issues as well, and I'll come on to that in a minute. But principally, where we are at the moment, number one, when it comes to the road surfacing, obviously Ragtail Crescent, Old Oak Way, there's been particular problems. We're hoping under the tracker that will be resolved quite soon this year, and some additional surface dressing works are going to be undertaken by the consortium because it's not adopted yet by Essex County Council. It's the developer's responsibility. Street lighting, we're hoping that is going to be actioned as well by the end of this year. There are certain estates where street lighting has been put up but is not working. That is a concern because it gets quite dark here and people are concerned about the potential for crime, and there has been some issues around antisocial behaviour. When it comes to the allotments, the consortium has put together the majority of the infrastructure now. The hard landscaping is done and they're in negotiations with the Allotment Association for quite a long-term lease, which is good news. Unfortunately, with the football pitches, the seeding's going to happen in the autumn. Now, they promised us, the consortium, that they would do it the previous autumn. And this comes to the big problem with the consortium. They have to honour their commitments now, and that's why the council is pursuing the potential legal avenue that it may well do. The other point, of course, is the commercial units. And the consortium have put together two potential options. I want the most optimum proposal to be carried forward. That will take a longer time, but it means that there will be some decent commercial units here. In the interim, I've been working with a local resident who has put together the idea of a pop-up shop. Now, that probably will be a proposal for 2 years. He's going through the business case testing with the consortium. It will require planning permission from the council, but I'm supporting that because we need to get some infrastructure here. The last point I would just make on where we are with some of the key issues is, of course, the primary school. We was both at that meeting, your Harlow and myself. I was in that meeting and having that discussion with residents. This third-party issue with the land ownership that the consortium are dealing with Essex County Council, we're on the route to resolve that, and we're hoping that the primary school will open in September 2025. Where this is going, I think between 2025 and 2028, we will hopefully get all the main infrastructure that the developers promised and the residents want delivered.
Is it acceptable in any shape or form to call some of this just acceptable teething troubles, or would you say no, this is just real deficiencies as you've just outlined?
I want the consortium to come to the table now. It's been years of residents rightly trying to hold them to account, bringing me on board over a year and a half ago to try and champion this for them. I have to say the planning enforcement officers in the council have done a brilliant job. They are meeting them regularly. They have sought this legal advice. If the consortium doesn't deliver on the action tracker that we've now got, that has been supported with information provided by residents, we want to share with them where the action tracker is to date, then I hope we can make more progress. The consortium have also promised us a draft newsletter for the council to review. We've seen some work on that. They need to speed that up. We want a regular newsletter going out from the consortium explaining the situation here to residents, because that's the big problem. If they communicate more, people will then understand what the timescales are, because at the moment you look at the sports pavilion, they're looking to the design of it, to procure an organisation to look at the tendering for that pavilion. If the residents are kept informed about that, then these questions that rightly need to be answered will be dealt with. But for some reason, the consortium is reluctant to do that, and it's taking the council to push them into action.
I know we could have been here in the Harlow Sisters in the 1950s talking about Perfect Green and Nicholsfield, a great braes. We could be here in the 1990s in the Harlow Star talking about Church Langley. But this particular time in Harlow's history, Latin Priory, Sumners, Gilston, here is obviously being built. It's really important to get your communities on board and get it right, isn't it?
Well, with my newfound independence as a backbencher, I can focus my time and energy on holding these developers to account and working with the residents. They're a really good group here, well organised. I hope that we can learn lessons from how the behaviour, frankly, of the consortium and the lack of commitment to deliver on some of these community features that should have been done way before now. I hope that I can devote my time and energy to getting that job done. It will take time, but I do credit the work that the planning enforcement officers are doing with the residents. It's that type of engagement that shows the benefit of local government.